Good morning, welcome to the channel. We are back at this basement conversion. If you've seen the previous episodes, you'll know that we're converting this basement into a clinical practice that the homeowner will rent out. So there's 3 rooms on the other side that we've already done. And then this area we're converting into a staff room for the future people that will be renting out those rooms. So a little space for them for lunch breaks and to store their personal items and to do the linens and everything that will be used in those 3 other rooms. I'll give you a quick little tour. So you can see that the floor is all done. They went with a linoleum rollout floor that looks like click-it vinyl almost, just to have a consistency, no seams, no tongue and groove locks that could break over time. And because the concrete is kind of inconsistent, a little wavy, they just went with a solid sheet of linoleum for that. That was put in yesterday. The painter was here, I think the 2 days before the linoleum went down, finished up her stuff. We have the exposed ducts behind me right there that are all painted up. They turned out pretty good, you can tell. They just went with a ceiling flat for that, I believe. Gap here looks pretty consistent, so it does look a lot cleaner just to maximize the height of the ceiling there. Along this wall will be a bank of cabinets with a countertop, a raised countertop in that far corner with either open shelving or closed shelving, not sure what they're doing there. And then in that cubby will be the washer and dryer. And then through here we separated this room so it can be used as a guest room or extra space if they want to open this all up and have this as one big space or close it off in the future. So the double sliding pocket doors went in there. So I'm going to start in this room trimming it. We're mixing MDF with finger jointed pine, just where places might see a bit more moisture than other places will use appropriately. So let's jump into it and start some trim. I've already got my pieces cut for this door here, which will be MDF. For the MDF, I just use miter bond. It's better than wood glue, as this stuff is basically just cardboard compressed sawdust. Plastic bag so it doesn't get on the new floor.
Will you get baseboards done today, or?
Hopefully. It might be a little longer, but we'll see. Should be pretty close.
It's going to be a staff room, and
You can tell I cut down the trim a little bit, that nub. So I had to cut like ½ inch off because that door is going into a corner, so I ripped it down with the table saw. This is the activator for the other glue. You don't need it, but it helps it set in like 10 seconds, a bit less. So it speeds up the process. Okay, that one's done, so now we'll jump over and do this one, which will be finger jointed pine. I write my measurements on a piece of paper just so I don't forget, which happens a lot. And then go cut it. I like to double check my header just in case, because if I were to glue it all together and my top piece is a little long, taking it all apart, I'd wreck all 3 pieces. So throw my top piece up on there real quick, make sure it's right, saves a lot of grief down the road. And this is where I switch up the glue, because this is real wood opposed to the MDF, which is medium density fiberboard. The finger jointed pine is real wood, so the miter bond won't last as long on that natural wood. So what I do, I still use it as clamping power, because that should enable me to lift up the whole piece, and it's just a quicker install. And then the yellow glue will be the long-term thing that holds it together. So the door casing is now in place. As you can see, I can go ahead and cut my baseboards. I'll make a little diagram on a piece of paper, take a bunch of measurements, and instead of making multiple trips up and down the stairs to the saw, I can just make a cut list, get most of it in 1 or 2 trips. And boom, that's my first cut list. We are raising the baseboard 3/8 of an inch, so I'm using this piece of plywood as a spacer just to keep it up off the floor in case there is any flooding or any moisture coming from the concrete. It's up off, and then we use cord around, or it's actually a door stop we'll use because it's a slimmer profile, and that will go tight against the floor. So if there is any flooding, all we have to do is replace that little trim piece opposed to the whole baseboard. All right, I just finished up in this area doing all the baseboard. I still have to do the quarter round around it, but I do have to do the baseboard in the spare room over there as well. So we'll jump over into there, finish that up. It should be a little easier because there's no bulkheads or stubbles or anything. So it's just a few inside corners that have to be done there. I'm gonna go around and caulk the top of it, make it look a little cleaner, and then we'll spackle all the holes after the caulk is dry, just so I'm not running into one wet thing and the other. Basically, the shadow line is what I want to get rid of against the wall. So I'll go around and do all the tops of the baseboard. That way it just looks a lot cleaner, and we'll do one more coat of paint on this baseboard after the caulking's dry and the spackling's done and everything to freshen it all up. But that's gonna do it for today's episode. I'm gonna have to come back tomorrow to finish the quarter round to cover up that gap on the floor, which will probably be at the end of this video. So I'll stop this now, pick up now as well. Okay, I'm back. It's the next day. We're about to do the quarter round, the last piece to the puzzle for the trim. Should be only a couple minutes on the video and a couple hours of actual work here left until that stage is done. And then I'll be out of here. Hopefully I'll be able to come back and get a video of the overall finished product, but we'll see. But for now, let's jump in and begin that quarter round, which is actually doorstop, so it looks a little better. Okay, got all the quarter round cut and ready to be installed, so I'll go lay it out where it belongs so I don't get too confused. Okay, they all fit, so time lapse. All right, I just finished up all the quarter round. Turned out pretty good. I went around and caulked everything as well, so we're pretty much done here. The painter will be the one to fill the nail holes and to do a final coat of paint on the trim. I won't be doing that. So this might be my final day here as well, but maybe hopefully I'll be able to come back and show you a completed job at least with all the cabinetry and everything else in. But that will do it for this episode. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.